This Gainward Phoenix RTX 3080 Ti walked in with a classic silent failure. The power LEDs light up, but the fan refuses to spin, and there is absolutely no display output. At first glance, it looks like a dead board, but after tracing a single missing voltage rail, I found the exact culprit hiding in plain sight. Stick around because this is a perfect example of why proper voltage sequencing matters and how one failed monitoring circuit can lock an entire high-end GPU out of post. Welcome back to GPU Solutions. I'm Fraser, and today we are diving deep into the board level diagnostics of this RTX 3080 Ti. If you are looking for real world repair breakdowns, proper diagnostic workflows, and honest insights into what's actually going wrong inside modern graphic cards, you're in the right place. Make sure to check the video description for links to the exact tools and equipments are used in this repair. If you need a repair like this, stick around. I will show you exactly how to book at the end. Let's get straight to work. Normally, I start every repair with a quick resistance check across the main power rails. But in this case, I skipped it. The customer already confirmed the power LEDs light up, which tells me the 12 volts and the 5 volt standby circuit is active. On top of that, I use a custom bench power supply that automatically limits current if it detects a short. That protects the PCB from burning up, unlike plugging it directly into a test bench where there is no current control. If I did not have this custom supply, I would absolutely check resistance first. But since it is safe to proceed, I connected the card back to my bench supply. Right away, the current draw set between 0.13 and 0.17 amps. This is incredibly low for an RTX 3080 Ti. It confirms the primary power sequence is not waking up. The LED being on tells me the standby rails are alive, but the fan staying completely still points directly to the missing 1.8 rail. Without it, the control logic circuit never initializes, so the fan headers never get the spin signal. Time to disassemble. I use my electric screwdriver to remove every fastener on this board. That means the backplate screws, the cooler retention bracket screws, and the I/O bracket screws. I gave the cooler a very gentle, even pull to break the thermal paste seal, carefully lifted it away, and immediately disconnected all the fan headers and LED connector from the PCB. Now I have a completely clean board to work with. My first step on any bare PCB is always a thorough visual inspection under the microscope. I am looking for burnt traces, lifted pads, cracked capacitors, or any components that have been knocked loose. I swept across the entire front of the board, checked every MOSFET, inductor, and VRAM modules. Nothing. Everything looks physically perfect. I flipped it over and inspected the backside as well. Clean board, no damage, no corrosion. That means we are dealing with an electrical fault, not a physical one. I reconnected my bench supply and started probing the critical voltage rails with my multimeter. I started with the 12-volt line, checking across the shunt resistors near the primary inductor. I read 12 volts on both sides of the resistor, which means the input power is making it to the board. Next, I checked the 5 volt rail on its designated inductor. But when I moved my probe to the 1.8 volt inductor, the meter read 0. The 1.8 volt rail is completely missing. That rail powers essential control logic and memory training circuit. Without it, the GPU will not post. Missing voltages usually mean a missing enable signal. I traced the 1.8 volt enable line back to its control logic gate. I checked pin 5, which should have 3.3 volts of standby power. It is present. Then I check pin 4, the actual output pin that tells the voltage regulator to turn on. It is dead, 0 volts. That means the gate is not receiving the correct logic input to trigger the output. I move to the input pins. Pin 1 carries the 5-volt power good signal and it is reading normal. Pin 2 is the VMON line, in short for voltage monitor. That signal should usually read between 2.4 and 3.3 volts. But my probe shows absolute zero. I followed the VMON trace directly to a resistor tied to pin 30 of the voltage monitor IC. Still zero. At this point, it is clear that the voltage monitor chip is not working. It is not sending the reference signal that power sequence needs, so the entire board stays locked in safe mode. To confirm my theory without risking further damage, I powered the board for just a few seconds and watched it through a thermal imaging camera. Within 2 seconds, one component started glowing bright red while the rest of the board stayed cool. That component was the exact voltage monitor IC I was just probing. Thermal runaway inside a monitoring chip is a classic failure mode. It is internally shorted, drawing excess current, overheating, and failing to output the VMON signal. Time to swap it out. I had a pre-prepared donor chip ready for the swap. I applied flux around the voltage monitor IC with hot air at 420 degrees Celsius and 60% airflow. I removed the faulty chip and installed the new one in place. I watched carefully as the solder self-aligned under the component. Once it had settled, I gave a quick inspection under the microscope. Every pin is making perfect contact with the pad. No bridges, no lifted pins. I finished by scrubbing the area with 99.9% isopropyl alcohol and a soft brush to remove all flux residue. I let the board cool completely before moving to the next step. Back on the bench supply, I powered it on again. This time, the current draw immediately jumped past 2 amps. That is exactly what I want to see. It means the power sequence has finally unblocked, and all the secondary rails are waking up. To be sure, I verified each critical rail with my multimeter. The 1.8 volt rail is now stable. The 0.9 volts PEX rail is present. The 0.75 volts core rail is reading correctly, and the 1.3 volts memory rail is solid. All required voltages are now exactly where they need to be. With the electrical side confirmed, it is time to put it back together. I thoroughly cleaned the old thermal paste off the GPU die and the cooler base using isopropyl alcohol and lint-free wipes. I applied a fresh high-quality thermal paste, spreading it evenly to ensure optimal heat transfer. I carefully reinstalled the I/O bracket and tightened the mounting screws. I reconnected all the fan headers and the RGB LED connector, making sure the plugs fitted firmly. I mounted a cooler retention bracket, tightened the 4 main screws, and finally secured the back plate with all original screws. I mounted the fully assembled card onto my open-air test bench, connected the display cable, and powered on the system. The fans immediately spun up in their initial boot pulse, and within a few seconds we had a clear image on the monitor. The post sequence completed without any errors. I booted straight into Windows and let the NVIDIA drivers initialize automatically. I opened GPU-Z and navigated to the Sensor tab. First, I launched FurMark, not for stability testing, but to confirm all sensors are reporting live data. Core voltage, memory voltage, power draw, and temperatures all populated correctly and updated in real time. With sensor validation complete, I moved to the actual performance testing. I ran Unigen's Superposition, which returned a strong expected score. Then I ran 3D Mark Nomad and 3D Mark Speedway. Both benchmarks passed cleanly with a score matching factory specifications. The repair is complete and this card is back to full performance. If you need a professional GPU repair, booking is simple. Head over to the link displayed on screen to visit my website. Click on Book Repairs. First, select Desktop Graphic Card. Then, choose your brand like MSI, EVGA, or any other. Then, select your model like RTX 3080 Ti. Next, fill in your GPU details like serial number, make and model, etc. Then, select the service you require like priority or normal. Once done, choose your appointment option. If you are shipping from outside the UAE, select You Ship to Us and pick any available date and time, since appointment dates don't matter for international orders. Finally, fill in your contact information like name, phone number, and address, then submit the ticket. You will receive the ticket number, shipping instructions, and login details in your email instantly. GPU Solutions handles board level diagnostics and repair with proper workflow and quality components. We are here to get your card back in action. If this breakdown helped you understand how voltage sequencing works, or if it saved you from throwing away a perfectly good board, please hit the like button. It really helps the channel grow. If you have not subscribed yet, make sure you do so and tap the notification bell so you never miss a new repair video. If you want to directly support this channel and fund future content upgrades, you can join as a channel member or use the thanks button. Every single bit goes straight back into better diagnostic equipment and more in-depth videos for you. Thank you for watching and I'll see you in my next video. Bye for now. Cheers.